the Department of Public Safety, the Department of Natural Resources enough, and those commissioners and their leadership for answering the call as quickly as possible. Initial damage assessments from the tornadoes are underway. Our partners with the National Weather Service are here, and they've begun those initial assessments, and so those reports will be coming out when they have those completed. Also, our team will begin preliminary damage assessments, and so we'll be looking into all the resources that it took to respond to an incident like this. The Red Cross currently has 2 shelters that are open, one here in Troup County at Point University Gym on Avenue D in West Point, and the second in Baldwin County at New Beginnings on Southside Drive in Milledgeville for those that are displaced. We're asking the public to stay clear of the damaged areas and roadways in order for us to respond. As the governor said, patience is going to be the watchword. As you've seen this devastation, I know folks want to get back to their homes and find their items that they've lost and see the destruction, but at the same time, with these power companies out here, there's a lot of live wires, there are gas mains that still need to be protected, there are a lot of things, so there are going to be a lot of law enforcement. If you do have to come back to the area, please, if you do, have an ID with you so that we can confirm that this is where you reside. We don't want just anyone roaming through the area. We care about your stuff like you do. Additionally, there are roadways and bridges that are flooded or currently near flooding conditions. So if you see a flooded roadway, please turn around. Don't try to cross it. Don't attempt to cross a roadway where there's running water. 2 feet of water can sweep away a full-size SUV. So make sure you are wise to that. And lastly, please continue to monitor your local radio stations and your trusted news sources for following updates. As the governor mentioned, the Army Corps of Engineers has opened all 6 gates at West Point to try to control the water. We do have a rising level from the inundation from the rain into the spillways. And then, as he mentioned, the dam that was breached, and there was some confusion with the dam felling or water going over the top of a temporary dam. And so in Spalding County at the reservoir, there is a temporary dam for some remodeling that was being done on the existing dam. And so that dam did have some water go over the top. It has not failed, but there is some flooding in that area. But as we mentioned, there's a lot of roadways that are underwater. If you see swift moving water up around bridges, don't take your chances. Until it's been inspected by engineers, we're not going to be crossing them. And I'll highlight one further thing before I give it back to the governor, is that if a bridge is closed, it can't be open until it's been inspected. Give us patience. It takes a lot of time. There are a lot more bridges than we have inspectors. And so as we get those teams out there to do those inspections, we want you to be able to get back into your homes as quickly as possible, but we want you to do it as safely as possible. With that, I'll turn it back over to the governor, and then we'll take questions from there. Thank you, sir.
Well, thanks, Chris. In closing, just on behalf of Marty and the family, we are just so thankful that there was no loss of life here. We're very lucky when you look at this devastation, and certainly want to offer our thoughts and prayers to the people of Mississippi. I communicated with Governor Reeves after the storm. I know it's a devastating storm that they're following over there, and we're certainly very lucky, and thank God for that. With that, we'll open it up for questions for Richard.
Have you reached out to the federal government yet to see if they're going to have a federal emergency declaration?
Well, we've definitely been in touch with our federal partners. I think the federal, we're continuing to assess. I'll let Director Stallings give you an update on that. I mean, look, our first priority is we need to get people's power back on. We need to make sure people are okay. We need to make sure they have water and they have food. It's going to take us a little while to assess to figure out, what kind of federal declaration, if any, we would have. Do you have anything for us?
So we have been in contact with our federal partners. The biggest thing to remember is right now we're in search and rescue and life saving. So those preliminary damage assessments, yes, that money is important, but it's secondary to safety right now. As we mentioned earlier, there's some more rain coming into the area tonight, possibly 2 to 3 inches. So we're trying to do everything we can to make sure we've got folks in shelters, we've got folks out of harm's way. So once we get those missions accomplished, then we'll start moving into the financial piece.
Governor, this is for you and this is Kemp. Y'all tore the house down the hill just the other side of the church. And I know, first I'd like to get your thoughts on what you saw as you walked through this devastation. But I'd also like to get Ms. Kemp's thoughts, as she viewed the family of one of the victims.
Well, I think when you see that house, you're thinking, Lord, how did somebody survive something like that? And then to get to talk to that person is pretty amazing, about hearing the story about the storm coming through it. Around 7 a.m. and they had been woken up at 4:30 a.m. with the hail, and then the storm hit so quickly and had to have people help her get out of the house. It's just a miracle that no one was killed. And we remembered meeting her. Marty did. So
I met her at the Kia plant, actually in the restroom, and so I remembered her, and that was her mom's home. So it's a miracle that she came out of it, but she's doing well.
Do they have apparently have they trained together to respective cities, and also do we have communication? Because sometimes when Opelika had a different one in Auburn, and that hurt us for a while. But it seems like everything seems to be.
Well, I would say as far as our communications go, we've had great communications between our team and the locals. But, I mean, we literally were here right after the storm. I mean, I was texting with the sheriff shortly after the storm. I know Colonel Wright and the State Patrol was in communications with the Sheriff's Department. He was telling me we had people on the ground here, and so I think we've had a great, state, local response. And we do have some of our federal partners here today from the Weather Service and obviously the Corps engineers, and we appreciate them. All right, thank you all.
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir. See you. I'll stay in touch. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. All we do. Good to see you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for bringing. Thank you for bringing. Sheriff, thank you. Helicopter left and you got to walk back down there.
Many deputies in Tripp County, he's got to ride back there. I know Vance and them, you'll see them. On their behalf. Vance texted me within a couple hours Oh, yeah. Just well, he didn't make it. We appreciate y'all. Tell me the owner of this hotel wants to meet you. He just got that through the room.
I always got to have a little humor. That's right. You're sharp. Good to see you. Governor, I'll be involved with tomorrow.
Oh, great.
Appreciate you coming.
Oh my goodness.
We focused everything on operations today because of the flooding. So I was the only one who said so I'm going to Somebody had to, that's right. Nobody can do it better than me.